All right, welcome back to the Tempo Control post-show Spoilercast. This is for episode 3. That's Persona 3. It's almost like we planned it out or something like that.
Actually straight up thought that was the intention.
I mean, it was part of it. It's just also a really good soundtrack. I'm joined once again by Joe DeVader. You heard him on the Chrono Trigger episode.
Hello.
And joined this week also by Katie Zawodniak.
Koi.
Hey, so we had your brother on last week for Twilight Princess.
Oh,
but
boy.
now we have you on, because you're also part of the Tempo Control writing team.
Yay.
Yay, but Persona 3. I kind of wanted to start. It is a very good game. I wanted to kind of get you started with both of your opinions on, kind of what the game means to you, and what do you think of when you think of Persona 3?
Persona 3 is a very well-constructed game. Its story is very well-constructed. The gameplay is great, too. I think that it's a very appropriate spin-off of the entire Megami Tensei franchise. I know that, there's a lot of, dissonance, and people are like, oh, that's only Persona, that's not SMT, and things like that, and that whole little fan base split. But I think that Persona does a good job of really encapsulating all the, the end of the world, the mythological themes, and all the fun story stuff that comes with a Shin Megami Tensei game. And Persona 3 was, like many people, my first exposure to the entire franchise, the entire SMT franchise, and not just Persona, but Persona as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very fun mixture of, RPG gameplay with also, the dungeon navigation is a lot more interesting than, any other, randomly generated or, bland dungeons. And, even Persona 4's dungeons I don't think were as good as Persona 3's. And the entire Tartarus structure was very interesting, and I liked the way that they did it.
That gives me an interesting thought. It makes you think, you're talking, procedurally generated dungeon. It's, it's kind of what all the different floors of Tartarus are. But when we've seen recently the rise of roguelike games, I wonder if that's a kind of element that we possibly may see in something like Persona 5.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, you don't want any of those really tough dice rolls in a way to kind of screw you over.
Oh, God.
It is a special game, and I think you're right with Persona 4's dungeons were rather frustrating at times, but Tartarus, you knew what you were getting, and there are plenty of floors in Tartarus. I mean, it goes up to 252 or whatever it is, but...
And it felt very natural, it was procedurally generated, but it all felt what could have just as very well been, at least in my experience, it could have very well have been, just the way that they designed that particular floor most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And gosh, while we talk about soundtrack on the show, I mean, the Tartarus music, that simple, kind of drum and bass sort of thing, but then adding layers as you get, over the 6 sections of Tartarus, that is always interesting. Though, if you played the FES version, then you also had the option to change up the jukebox, and then you're borrowing remixes of old Persona songs, I think from even the first, Revelations Persona game. So that was always an interesting little twist there. Joe, your thoughts on Persona 3?
Well, Persona 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. In fact, thinking on it in recent months, I'm pretty sure it might actually hold the number 2 spot on my top 10 just in general. I've played through it twice. I haven't played Portable yet. I actually plan on doing that soon when I have the ability to stream it. I plan on playing through the female route and doing a max length run. I've played FES twice. I played it once in, I believe, the same year you did, but I stopped for 6 months, hit Hanged Man, and for some reason couldn't beat him and stopped. And then about 6 months later, I was talking to, I believe it was Matt, and he told me, dude, you're really close to the end of the game. Just get back to it and finish it. And so I did. And that game is awesome. And then actually just a couple months ago, I think October, November of last year, I did a max length run in about 4 days because I'm crazy and I was unemployed.
Oh my God.
I was unemployed, and that is not a very good combination for me. So I bought it on PSN, and I just burnt through it in about 4 days. Max length run, followed a guide. Actually had to restart 12 hours in because I'm crazy. But I really, really, really like that game. It's really good. And personally, yeah, I'm one of the people that prefers 3 to 4, though Golden might have changed that a little bit. Golden, I think, is the better version of 4. Portable, from what I'm told, it's a weird sort of thing where there's trade-offs if you go to portable instead of FES, which is the visuals, obviously. But Golden doesn't have that. Golden is just straight up the better version of Persona 4.
Correct.
So it's kind of weird there. But in terms of Persona 3, I don't know, man. It's just a really good game. And this soundtrack was really hard to pick from. I had one suggestion, and I almost had to fight you for it.
What was that?
That was for Memories of the City to be included.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because I really, really like that song. The first time that song plays is just...
And you might as well reiterate that this is a spoiler cast, so we're gonna talk about certain things of the game. So get out now if you haven't, because you don't want to spoil this one.
If you haven't played Persona 3, fucking, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life?
But yes, Memories of the City playing, past December 31st, and it's just everything feels really bleak.
You go to the shrine. Well, the first time you hear it is that morning when you go to the shrine, and everything is silent. Everybody's talking. The girls are in their kimonos, but nobody can really enjoy it because it's the world's gonna end in 31 days.
One of the things that really impressed me about Persona 3 was the way that the atmosphere changed. Like, not only just over time, but also that very sudden change with Memories of the City and, like, the cult stuff suddenly, like, exponentially intensifying. It really stuck with me, and, like, it really helped you feel the impact of, everything that was going on.
Other moments of that game are pretty powerful too. I mean, some of the character deaths that you don't expect. So like Shinjiro, that death comes surprisingly out of nowhere.
So here's the thing about Shinji's death, and I love that entire part of the game. But one part that makes me mad is that you can reverse it in Portable. That actually makes me. You can do the same in FES with Chidori, which I also don't like. Because both of those deaths feel like they need to happen for the narrative to be as good as it is. But for anybody that does not know, somehow, in case you are listening, in FES, the character Chidori dies. She dies in a really, really cool scene where she sacrifices her life to save Junpei's life. It's a huge, pivotal moment for Junpei's character. It's the moment where he really turns around and stops being kind of an unlikable asshole. He kind of grows up from that experience. But later on in the game, in the FES version, if you keep talking to him and answer certain things on certain days, Chidori comes back to life.
Yeah.
And doesn't remember any of the events that happened in the game. But fuck you, she's back to life. And that's stupid. And in Portable, they added in that if you max Shinji, then he's in a coma. He's not dead.
Oh, see, that's not true.
I think you have to max Shinji, and you also have to, like, trigger certain events. Like, because the reason he survives is that, like, I think it's like he has some kind of pocket watch or whatever that, takes the majority of the blow or whatever. One of those things.
Oh,
and I don't even know if, like, it's you do, like, a lover's route for him, because, like, I maxed his social link, which you have to be very diligent about because there aren't many days to do so.
Yeah, it's like the closest parallel you can really draw to 4 is Nanako and Dojima, where you have a certain window of time. No, it's not quite as
right.
Yeah, it's not nearly
obviously,
as tight.
But
I didn't know he could come back. That's interesting. But that's a death that needs to happen. But it just further sets up character motivation for Ken, who is my least favorite character in that whole game.
He's the worst.
In regard to Ken, and I believe Doba, you can back me up on this one. We were watching parts of the movie and everything as they're coming out, and I'm of the opinion, and last I checked, Joe, you agree, that the movie does it much better and makes Ken a more likable character.
Yeah, can we talk about the movies real quick?
I mean, you can't. I haven't seen it, but I will eventually. But
Well,
it's covering the same plot, so.
So here's the thing about the movies. First movie's okay. It's an okay movie. A lot of people don't like it. I thought it was fine. Second movie is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Second movie follows Ken being brought into seas all the way to Shinji's death.
Yes.
That's the span of time. I guess is also part of that plot as well in the second movie. The third movie is awful, but we'll get to that later. But the second movie is just all about Ken's relationship with Shinji, basically, more so than anything else. And the things they sort of add to that, and the character they sort of add to Ken. So when Ken enters the picture in the game, he already doesn't like Shinji, and then he finds out that Shinji killed his mom, and then he even more doesn't like Shinji.
I thought that in the game, Ken had already known.
No, Ken finds out when he overhears Akihiko and Shinji talking about it.
Oh, that's lame.
He knows that, like, someone killed her, but then it's like, yeah.
But in the movie, Ken fucking loves Shinji. He's the coolest.
Interesting.
Like, he's awesome. And then he finds out about his mom.
And I think the way that they did it in the movie is interesting as well. And I don't want to talk about it too much, but the movie has it so that, you know, there are small flashback moments and things, but, you know, Ken remembers what happened to his mother, but he remembers it incorrectly, and he's constantly trying to re-figure out who is it that killed his mother, and he's constantly trying to place the blame onto somewhere, and you see the flashbacks and stuff, and it sets it up in a way that you could see it's ambiguous. It could be the shadow that he thinks killed his mother, but if you know, like, what Shinjiro's persona looks like and everything, you can tell, oh, that's probably Castor.
Yeah.
And then just to end the sort of discussion on the movies, because I think they're important to talk about on this, we have seen the third movie, and it is, like I said, terrible. I've never been angrier at a movie being bad in my entire life. And the reason it's terrible is because the thing that Persona does really well, just as a series, is that its characters getting stronger because they're getting more fleshed out as characters because they're growing as people. It's not, I mean, it is like a regular RPG where, oh, the numbers go up and the strength goes up. But in story, it's, oh, I've come to this crossroads in my life. Now I am stronger for it.
Yeah.
And you can see that in when a character has something happen to them and their persona changes. They gain their ultimate persona. And in the movie, it shows all of those scenes, but here's the problem. So the end of the third movie is Junpei's scene, where he gets it. Chidori dies. He gets, it's Trimagistus is his second. Yeah, Trimagistus. He gets that persona. And because that is the climax of the movie, somebody somewhere decided, oh, we can't have the other ones happen. What? Because that will take away from this big pivotal moment. So all of the scenes, like Akihiko at the memorial for Shinji, all of those happen, but none of them get their personas.
What?
And they all happen in rushed flashbacks because the second movie starts right at the fight in the Love Hotel on Shirakawa Boulevard. It opens up right there. And that's a really great opening. And somebody apparently saw that and said, hey, we need to make sure that the third movie also opens on a fight, even though the second movie closes at Shinji's funeral. The third movie opens on the Hanged Man fight. Just straight up to the Hanged Man fight. Skips everything that happened between those two events. Everything that did happen happens in flashbacks that are super rushed and terribly paced. And they added in a bunch of random crap to say, hey, look, Makoto and Makoto and Ryoji are really good friends. Can you tell they're friends yet? So, third movie, not great. Fourth movie has the same director as the second movie, so I'm very excited for that at least. But that's the movie. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk about that for too long.
On a music note, though, the of course, the movies reuse music from the games, but the intro themes and the ending themes for each movie are new, and I think there are a couple of other like new songs that they use in the background, and they're all phenomenal. I love the opening to the second movie.
Cool.
Also, I checked on the wiki and confirmed you do have to get Shinji's pocket watch for him in order for him to survive. It's at level 9 of the social link.
Huh. I thought I did that. I must not have, though. Oh, back to Ken, though. The fact that you can have him as a romance option
Oh, God.
for a female main character.
Fun fact about Ken. Did you know he is the least popular character in all of Persona?
Not shocking
Really?
at all.
I believe they did a poll in Japan, and among the entire series, and this includes Persona 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure, Kanemata is the least popular character.
He sucks.
He's so bad.
Unlike Koromaru, who is amazing.
Koromaru is the best. Ben, so Ben, people listening who have listened to our other older stuff might remember Ben. He was my co-host for my show for a while. When Peter posted on Twitter, "What should we talk about?" Ben asked, "Who's the most kissable?" And like, we can't talk about that. We all have the same answer. It's Koromaru.
He's so fluffy.
That's the only answer there is. I mean, my secondary answer is Akihiko, obviously, but I mean, it's Koromaru.
100%.
So who's Bae? Who's
for
Bae?
me, it's Mitsuru.
Yeah, Mitsuru. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty much. She's pretty much the best choice.
Canon is Yukari, but I did the canon love interest in both of my replays of 3 and 4 recently. Both of them was not a fan.
I certainly do not hate Yukari as much as others do. I'm very lukewarm to not caring on Fuka, but that's just me.
The main reason I hate Fuka is that her voice, and it's not the character's fault. It's not the writer's fault. It's not even the director's fault. Everybody else's voices are fine. I think it's been pretty blatantly decided that in this case it was the voice actress's fault because she just didn't care or something. Because I guess if you listen to lines specifically in FES, then, oh man, suddenly she got a lot better.
Yeah.
So she just didn't care.
Which is odd because like I started with FES. Like I haven't played the original.
Well, I assume when it says lines specific to FES, I'm assuming it means the answer. Which neither of us have played. Katie, have you played the answer?
I started a file on it, and then I don't think I even played in any of the dungeons.
I think I've told both of you at some point that every few months I go through a cycle of, I really think I should try and play the answer. And then immediately, like I'm talking 2 seconds later, the thought is interrupted with, wait, no, I should not, ever.
I should try the answer. I should.
Oh, wait, I don't hate myself.
I don't. Like, the answer is so bad that Atlas has disowned it, basically. It's not on portable.
Like, Joe, it's going to ruin the game for us when we try that. You do realize this.
Oh my god, it is! Well, all we gotta do is remember that, shit, it's canon, isn't it? God damn it!
See, because I don't know how you go and, like, ruin that ending. Which, when I went back and played Portable, I don't want to say, like, I forgot that, Minato, the main character, like, dies at the end. But when you go through it, it didn't really click because it had been, several years. It's almost a 5-year gap that I played between FES and Portable. The fact that, after the battle's over and then, like, you're exploring the town and all that, and you're still going to school for that last day. And then you go up to the roof, and suddenly it's peaceful. Like, and it just, you close your eyes for that long sleep. It didn't really... click to me that like, oh yeah, like I'm still doing stuff. I'm like, but the character dies. Like, what is this? Like, why am I still doing stuff? And I think it's a weird resolution in a way that it's not like after the battle sort of thing, but like you're getting that resolution with the character and that you're going to school and you're talking to friends. But then it's just like, oh, I guess we'll be there, and your friends join you, but their voices get quieter, and it's just like. Yeah, so
And
I just felt bad because for the entire last day, it's people saying like, "Oh man, do you want to do this like 3 months from now? That's gonna be really
yeah,
awesome."
it's
Isn't it?"
never
It's
gonna
like, oh
happen.
God, I'm about to break all these people's hearts.
I totally fell apart with the Sun social link.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I forget exactly what his name is.
Oh shoot,
Hold on,
Aki.
I'm phoning a wiki.
It's not Akihiko.
Akinari?
Akinari.
Is
Yeah,
it
I believe it's Akinari. Yes, it's Akinari Kaneki.
Mhm.
I kind of liked that he did die, like at the end of the social link, and his epilogue was, I believe, his mother.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
And I remember when I completed the social link, in a weird way, the graphical limitations, or at least just the way that they chose to deal with, the scene for, graphics sake, for some reason, him just fading away got to me. Like, it's really funny when you think back on it, but it really got to me in, like, a way that it really shouldn't have. And it just, I guess because it made the whole thing feel unreal.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's really what they meant to do, and it it probably backfired for some people, but it really just hammered in, oh shit, okay, this isn't one of those, oh, he gets better at the end because you're his friend and you love him kind of things.
The power of friendship.
I realized like halfway through the social link that, the power of friendship wasn't what's gonna happen, and
No.
Oh, nowhere near. Power of friendship wasn't saving that guy.
power of friendship can save the
the
protagonist, but not Akinari.
power of friendship didn't save the protagonist.
Because they were all
Well,
there
it
at the
helped
end.
him.
Yeah, sure, it helped.
It helped him defeat death.
There you
But
go.
I think the like what you were saying, Peter, where it didn't really set in because it had to be told to me after I finished the game.
Really?
I think I had some thoughts about it, but I remember finishing it and going to a Skype chat, and Matt told me that you realize that the implication is that you died at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's never happened to me before. And I think the whole idea is it's sort of like before the answer came out, it was a Cowboy Bebop situation where did he die? Did he not? We don't know. And then the answer got rid of all the mystery behind it, which is another reason why the answer sucks.
That's the only thing I know about the answer is that like everyone's like upset at the main character's death and like they're trying to find their own sort of form of revenge in a way, and it breaks a lot of character motivation and makes Yukari in particular super unlikable, and that's all I know.
Well, Yukari was in love.
I don't really like how the characters conveniently broke up into teams of two that believed the exact same thing. Conveniently. So you could fight them in teams of two. But Heartful Cry was a good song.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I think it translates well to, kind of looking at the list overall that we had. Heartful Cry, we had at number 2. Which, like, it's one of the best battle themes, I think.
The faster theme from Persona from P4A is a lot better. Arena has a faster version of the theme, which I really, really like. But yeah, it's a very, very good battle theme.
I can imagine that would be nice. I haven't heard it yet, though. I've heard a lot of, like, fan, like, remixes and mashups over the years of Heartful Cry, and it's always good.
I feel like maybe I'm one of the only ones who is, like, a real advocate for wiping all out from Persona 3 Portable, but we had that at number 3. It's my personal
I adore
favorite.
it. When we were first getting like the pre-release materials and everything, and like it showed up in trailers and on the website and stuff, I would go out of my way to find like extended versions where you could just listen to it over and over and over again, because just the vocals in particular just strike me. I like them.
It's so good. It's so good. It's one of those ones, I could listen to easily like a 30-minute, just extended cut. That's a really good one, and to have it at number 3. And yeah, I mean, if like you haven't played Portable and you don't know some of those female main character songs in particular.
See, I had straight up never heard Wiping All Out before I listened to this episode. Oh my god, that song's really good.
Yeah, it's
another song from the female version that's not on the list, but is one of the first songs that we heard in like pre-release stuff is Sun, which is the female character like overworld theme. And I don't know if I would say that it's good, but it's definitely interesting.
Yes, it's the second semester school theme, Yeah, and we had it as one of
Better
our.
than Changing Seasons.
It's definitely better than Changing Seasons and its French rap.
I liked Changing Seasons.
I like
No, I
Changing
didn't.
Seasons after the first 30 seconds. When it's not the that is a terrible, awful part of that song. And the first time I heard it, I almost shut the game off.
Well, then in a way, Sun's very similar in that the way Sun begins, and we had it in our honorable mentions, but didn't include that bit where it begins and it's like it's this really odd kind of vocal apoplectic mix of sounds.
But is it as obnoxious as Changing Seasons?
It's more obnoxious
In its own way.
Yeah, in its own way, but it's catchier though.
Back then, I was offended by how bad the beginning of Changing Season is. The me of now loves it. I eat that up.
But yeah, then Sun gets really good with its trumpet melody, and that's why it's really cool.
Gotta love Meguro's trumpets. You got it.
Yeah, and his guitars. And Burn My Dread Last Battle we had at number 4, and the bass gets real heavy on that one in particular.
That is the only I've talked about this with Katie before, but that is the only time in the entire game where Lotus Juice's lyrics make sense.
Yeah.
He is a blessing into this world.
It never happens anywhere else. If you ever want to be extremely confused, go read the lyrics for Deep Breath, because none of them make any sense.
There you go. You gotta
I love the reincarnation version of I think is it Deep Breath? That's changes it into this really jazzy tune that drops references to James Bond.
Persona 3 is really bad.
But I love it so much.
Oh boy, Mass Destruction at number 5. That's one where the lyrics don't make as much sense, except for baby.
Every random encounter song I've ever heard in any game, by the 30th hour of that game, that song sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck that. I will never like any wild Pokemon encounter song in my entire life because of this. Mass Destruction never got old.
I don't know.
It's the only one.
I like Time to Make History more, and of course, Wiping All Out.
Time to Make History is also a very good example, but I don't know if I like Time to Make History as much as I do because it's a really good song, or because, thank fucking God, I don't have to hear the intro to reach out to the truth every 30 seconds.
That is one that does get old though.
That's a really good song, but God, that intro gets really grating after a while.
Memories of You is really nice. We had it at number 6. It's a really nice ending theme. I do have more feels in my heart for Nevermore from Persona 4, but
Definitely.
As far as ending themes go, Memories of You is a really good one.
I saw a very good English rendition of Memories of You by a cover artist on YouTube by the name of Sapphire. If I can plug that, but it's just. She does a very good job of translating the lyrics, and I believe she also did Nevermore. I
think I've seen one of those before. I'm trying to remember which one, but that does sound familiar, and it is really well done. Joe, you're more of a fan of Deep Breath than I am, to be honest, at number 7. You do too, Katie? Okay.
I do.
At one point, I think I would have called Deep Breath in fact, I believe back when we did RTM Radio, that was put down as my favorite Persona 3 song. I don't think it is anymore. I couldn't honestly tell you which one it is now. But yeah, I really, really like Deep Breath. It is the only Full Moon song that shows up again within the game and shows up in perfection, being Operation Bape Hunt.
Yes.
That part of the game is so amazing. I don't know why I like it so much. I just sort of like the general feel of it. I like the general feel of Persona 3 soundtrack a lot more than 4's, mainly because it's a lot darker feeling. It's a lot grittier feeling. But Persona 3 is in itself a lot darker feeling and a lot grittier feeling, so it fits.
Right.
I think Deep Breath gets a lot of hate because it's a very disgusting sounding song, really. Is
right in the refrain, too. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
But I think that's what makes it so good. But I'm also just weird like that. Because I like it not only for its atmosphere, but I just like it as a song. I listen to it. I jam to it.
Yeah, same. To be honest, at this point in time, I think I like A Deep Mentality a lot better. But when it comes to the full moon songs, but yeah, that's about all on that.
Joy is at number 8. That's a staple and a classic from this game. Joe, you use it a lot on your podcast back in the day.
Yeah, it used to be the song that played at
Intro?
the beginning of every episode of RTM in the background.
Yeah.
Which I think fit very, very well. That song just fits for doing things. It and Afternoon Break?
Yes, Afternoon Break.
Yeah. Those two songs just fit for doing things.
It's a great song if it were applied to real life, sort of thing. Just like a background sort of theme applied to everyday life. I agree.
And it's disgustingly catchy, and I hate it for being as catchy as it is, but I love that song. It's really good song.
It has a lot of feelings to the social encounters. It makes them more heartfelt in a weird way.
Yeah.
Not in a very weird way. More of in an atmospheric, musically intentional way.
We did talk about Memories of the City at number 9. Just kind of inspiring despite all the morbidity going on. But then
that entire span of time in the game is the most downer span of time in any video game I've ever played in my life.
It's pretty heavy.
And it also could have been half as long.
And then number 10 was Master of Shadow, which is a full moon boss theme. It's not, the Tartarus boss, but Master of Shadow is a good one.
I don't like Master of Tartarus.
I don't either. I don't
think that song's all that great. Master of Shadow's great. I really don't like Master of Tartarus. That's one of my least favorite songs on the soundtrack.
I like it. Excuse you.
It's the worst, Fangs. Just admit it.
I think the comparable song to Master of Shadow would be Danger Zone in Portable with the female protagonist, and we had that one in our honorable mentions.
Danger Zone is a very weird song for me because it is a song that sounds like it belongs in the Raido Kuzunoha games. Especially with the guitar. Like, I can't even pinpoint what song from Raido it sounds like, if any, but it was that moment where I realized, shit, Meguro is starting to sound like himself. He's starting to sound like other Megami Tensei games now.
We're reaching a singularity.
See, I thought it sounded more like, well, this could have easily fit in Persona 4. But that's just my opinion.
Which
I think
would
it
have made
could have,
sense. Yeah. That's where his musical talents basically evolved.
And it's really close around that time. I mean, Portable came out in 2010, and 4 was already out by that point. So.
Yeah, and Portable came out not long after Raido 2, which was 2008, so it makes a lot of sense that it would sound the same.
Yeah. And then also an honorable mention was When the Moon's Reaching Out Stars. Very long title, but that is a classic song with this game.
And boy, is it a title. That is also a song that just sort of fits. I really, really like that song, and I think it's better than either of the town songs in Persona 4. Personally, that's one of the few times where I'll say that, because Persona 4's soundtrack, I think, is overall actually better.
I feel that Reaching Out Stars stands out more and stands alone as its own song a lot better than Heartbeat, Heartbreak, and Your Affection does.
Yes.
Because those are very, background music for video games, but Moon's Reaching Out Stars is like a song that, you would hear on a radio or some contraption that plays music publicly.
Yeah, I think it's a good way of putting it. Number 1 song was Battle for Everyone's Souls. It's, as Matt at the end of The Last Twilight Princess, Spoilercast, our last episode was saying.
Spoiled it. What a dick.
Yeah, basically saying, like, I mean, I'm guessing what it is, but, it's taking that theme that, plays throughout the game and just brings it full circle, and it means a lot. Like, yep, sure does.
And I think the best part about that is you don't realize it's a remix of Poem for Everyone's Soul or Aria for Everyone's Soul or whatever. Aria of the Soul. Whichever name you use.
Yeah.
Because it's called both. You don't realize that until the vocals come in.
Yeah, that's true.
And then it hits you.
It's such a good song. And I would say it's easily in a top 10 of, like, when it comes to final boss themes. Like, I'd say it's easily in a top 10.
I don't think there was any other choice. Like, Battle for Everyone's Souls is the most famous song.
Yeah.
Off of the soundtrack.
Yep.
Like, nothing else even compares.
Yep. I agree. Anything else about like the game that we want to talk about in particular?
I like the Hermit social link. It's really good. I like the ending of the Hermit social link on the last day of the game. It's double good.
Most of the social links are good. I think that Moon is the only one that like I didn't really get into.
Moon is the worst social link. He's the worst person. He doesn't become a better person. He goes through no character growth. Throw him off a goddamn bridge.
See, this is why the female social links are better in Portable. Because Moon becomes Shinjiro.
Oh, good. That's an improvement.
Hermit becomes like a librarian character named Saori.
That is a loss. Because then you don't get Maya, and then you don't get to make your teacher have a stroke on the last day of school.
Yeah.
Saori does have a really good scene in her social link, though, I think.
Yeah. Yes, then was Akihiko's star.
I'm going to romance the shit out of Akihiko when I play.
I mean, he's basically the canon husbando.
Good. He has all the muscles.
Yeah. But they don't write him as, I must train, in training, just like some of these later spin-off games.
They only do that in Persona Q. And Persona Q does that with a lot of characters, and because it's mainly for fan service and everything, but like it does it with Chie too.
Meat.
And you know what Persona Q is? Persona Q is the versions of the characters from Persona 4 Arena when somebody's talking to them and they're hearing the terrible things that the mind control wants them to hear.
Yeah.
That's the version of every
That's a good way of putting it. I will say, as far as just looking behind the scenes sort of stuff, I mean, we do have, rough lists already constructed for Persona 4 and for Persona Q. I would imagine, since it's probably been, we're scheduling Pokemon Black and White next. And so it's not surprising with a Pokemon game that, we have Pokken Tournament coming out on March 18th.
That game looks so good.
I'm mixed on it, to be honest. But, for some of these big games, like, it's not going to be really a secret when we talk about this kind of stuff on Spoilercast, behind the scenes production stuff, that we've kind of have these games sort of already scheduled out to kind of coincide with some of these big releases. So when
we do we do things strategically.
Yeah, holy
shit.
When Uncharted 4 slides 2 weeks, we're like, okay, well, we're going to move the Uncharted. I won't say which one we picked for Uncharted, but I'll say we've moved the Uncharted.
It's Uncharted 4. We got early access.
Whoa! Spoilers on the soundtrack.
We didn't actually. Don't quote us on that, please.
So then I wouldn't be surprised if, if we plan out Persona 4 for the release of when Persona 5 comes out.
That game needs to come out yesterday. I need that game in my body immediately.
Just in my life, in my soul.
It looks great.
In my veins.
That game's gonna ruin my life.
I don't know when we're gonna do a Persona Q one, but there is a list for it that we've constructed, and like that's a really good soundtrack as well. So
Persona Q just sort of feels like we don't have anything for this week. Let's throw this chibi game at them. That'll be fun. We'll be good. Everything's fun.
Well, yeah, the actual game we're a little mixed on, but
game's all right. I like it.
Joe, you wrote a script for a skit for this past episode for Persona 3. What was that like?
Katie and I came up with the initial idea. I came up with the initial idea. Katie helped me flesh it out. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote the script. And the first part was pretty okay. And the second part was... And
the first draft of it, didn't reach the sound conclusion, I guess we could say it. Yeah.
So the logical solution was to give Seth a run at it because he was the one in the skit, or the other one in the skit. Mm-hmm. And if you might notice, we are trying to make sort of characters out of everyone, and we're trying to only introduce a character at a time until we've introduced everybody, and then we'll try and mix and match and stuff like that for skits.
Yeah.
I like to make sure that when I'm writing for somebody else, because I'm not very good at that they get a look at it and they can take a run at it. Mm-hmm. And so Seth took a run at it, added a bunch of stuff, fixed it up. I think it turned out great. Miles also took a run at it. He didn't add as much, but he did get a few notes in there. And I think mainly that skit was really good, and I think it was mainly due to Seth's writing. I think he did a great job with that.
Yeah, definitely. And those skits, they are really fun to make. Talking as like the editor on the audio end,
I'm having a blast writing them too.
yeah, absolutely. But they take a long time to edit, and it's just something that we're working on getting better with, like the timing of the writing and the timing of the lines and all that. Because, gosh, I didn't get Seth's lines until late Sunday, and that just made the whole editing process even later than I would have liked, because that took 3 to 4 hours to edit, from start to finish. And like, it makes a difference because I'm going to be really picky on, how it should sound, getting the sound effects just right. When it comes to the part with the social links, getting those sound effects, finding rips on YouTube. Sure, I'll do the, trying to take the lines and do voiceover. Though I didn't really realize that when you max the social link, there are like 4 lines for delivery. I'm like, this is way too fucking long. Let's just take the last 2 and talk about, you get Sibylle of the Lovers. Okay, now
to be perfectly honest, if I can say this as well, those weren't written in the original script. Peter put those in himself. Yeah, and I'm glad he did.
Cool. I'm glad it worked. But yeah, I mean, they're really fun to make. And so whether we do, more skits or more musical numbers or things like that, it's stuff that takes a lot to edit, but I hope it's something that like kind of brings a freshness to the overall podcast idea.
Yeah.
I still love the story that Rita told us of when she was playing for the first time and her PS2 glitched during that scene with Minato, Makoto, whatever, with the invoker to his head, and it just froze.
Oh no.
And she didn't know what to do. The animated cutscene.
What would have been even better is like when the triggers pulled, like it just killed the PS2. That'd be funny. Yeah.
Meta as shit.
PS2 bricks. Oh, if the PS2 would have bricked right there, that would have been the best.
That's almost like something out of a creepypasta shit.
That would have been amazing. Rita, why didn't you make it? Why didn't you make it brick?
You can fib a little. It's okay.
You heard it here first. Joe wants his friends' things to break.
Oh, I think we're good.
Well, on that note, we got Pokemon Black and White coming up this coming week. I know there's a lot of generations to choose from, and I like my favorite game out of that series is Heart Gold Soul Silver. It'd be easy to do that one, but when we're talking about soundtracks, I think Black and White has a special one in particular. So we're gonna go back to Unova, which I don't remember much of those games, so it'll be interesting to talk about those.
I didn't get anywhere in them.
Whoa.
So I won't see you guys next week.
Okay. Well, Katie, thank you for joining us. Do appreciate you spending some time with us and talk about Persona.
I'm glad to be here.
And,
it's fun.
And Joe, good to have you again.
Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for us. We'll catch you next week on Tempo Control and the post-show Spoilercast. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye.